everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of Will Podcast with Friends. I'm Ronnie Greenaway. In the title it says with Ronnie Greenaway, so that's me. And I have a very, very special guest today. I have someone I've known for such a long time, and someone that I'm proud of, but usually, I'm going to be honest, usually when I'm proud of somebody, I'm kind of jealous too. But you are one of the few people that I'm not jealous of.
Yes!
I'm just happy for all of your success. And I like to see it happen. And that's rare. So, want to welcome Shantelle, Eddy to the show.
Hi!
Hey, how you feeling?
Feeling good. I feel good. It's early morning, so I am feeling great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you wake up early in the morning sometimes?
Yes, I am. Sometimes, all the time.
Okay.
I am a morning person. I am up for regular days. I'm up by like 6 o'clock. Weekends, maybe like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But for the most part, yeah.
Nice. How does that affect your life? Does it give like a positive impact to your life? Now, of course, we have to wake up for our jobs, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that if you woke up at 5 instead of 6, it would be even better?
Probably, because I feel like I get more done when I wake up earlier. For example, there are the rare few days, once in a blue moon, when I do wake up late, and I feel like my whole life is crumbling in front of my eyes because I'm rushing to get things done, trying to get ready for whatever I have to do for the day. But I feel like when I wake up earlier, I have more time just to worship, spend time with God, and then take my time to get myself ready, have a good breakfast. I feel like everything just aligns when I wake up early.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is it sometimes hard?
Yes, because some days you're like, oh, if I could just get the extra, I want to have, and my world would still be okay.
Yeah.
It'd be great, because sometimes I'm so tired, but yeah.
And that's going to lead us into the first thing I wanted to talk about with you.
Ooh.
Something I think that you're an expert on, but before I go into that, for me, in my waking up experiences recently, I've been waking up consistently at 6.
Okay.
Right? Except for one day, which was last week Sunday, and I have no idea why. And you know why? We were in a play.
Yeah, we had a...
Well, no, you were in the choir, I was in the play.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be at rehearsal for 9 in the morning. And usually on Sundays, either my mom or someone needs my help early in the morning. So they would call me, and this Sunday nobody called me. Nobody was home. And I woke up at 10. And I was like, what happened?
Right.
But usually I wake up, but what I would do is I'd end up just going and snoozing. I'll be snoozing.
You're one of those people.
Yeah, I'm a snoozer. So it's definitely a difficult thing, but I'm gonna pull a page from your book because recently, and this is a topic that's been coming up in the world. I hear a lot of people talking about self-care, right? Because it's so easy when you're good or when you're perceived to be good in terms of what you do, your skills and your talents.
Yeah.
You can get overworked. People look at you and they see you as the person, the authority, and it's been happening a lot. So I wanted to get your experience on it because you're in basically everything I know to be in the known universe in some way, in some capacity.
Right.
So I wanted to get your take and tell us your story about how that if that happened to you, what happened and what showed you that it needed to stop.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as you say, I'm very, very involved, and part of that is because I hate feeling like I'm not productive. It's something about just being there. It's almost, it's a bad thing in a sense because sometimes I can't even just sit at home and just relax because I feel like I'm not being productive. I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Recently though, I had a huge awakening, and you know a little bit about it. in the fact that, like, okay, I'm 25 years old. At 25, you shouldn't be like going through burnout, and people feel like you shouldn't be going. Let me say that.
Yeah.
You know, people feel like you should be refreshed and you should be ready to do all this stuff. And because I'm so productive, I've been doing a lot of things lately. I work 40 to 50 hours each week at a regular job, and I still part-time teach at the school, a college preparation course. I'm actually getting certified in sign language, and then praise teams and drum corps, and being the AY leader for Philadelphia, and so many things just on top of, plus trying to just maintain a regular relationship with my fiance and my family, and still be a very active person in church. And I got sick. So it was a regular, a cold. You get a cold once in a blue moon. It was like, okay, cool, I've had colds before. Knock it out in 2 days or so. But it just won't go away. And it was just progressively getting worse and worse. And I'm talking, it went from like a small cold to my chest feeling like burning and not being able to breathe. And so I went to the doctor. I went like 2 weeks after being sick, which is something that nobody should ever do. I only did that because I felt like, I'll knock it out, like it'll be fine.
Drink about fluids.
Right, just like drink a bunch of fluids. I probably took like a day or two home. And I just kept like, I was working still, I was teaching still, I was doing everything still. So 2 weeks later, when I realized it wouldn't leave, I went to the doctor, and he's like, okay, you have this crazy flu that was going around, and because you waited so long and you're not resting or whatnot, I got a sinus infection. Right, so then I had to stay home for another 3 days or whatnot. Stayed at home for 3 days, did everything I was supposed to, thought I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. I felt like, okay, I'm home from work, so I'm resting, quote unquote, because I'm home. But I wasn't, because I still wasn't sleeping. I still was like lesson planning and still doing things for work at home. I'm pretty much working at home, and I'm thinking just because I'm sitting on the couch, like
that you're resting, but it's not really the case.
Yeah, and as the 3 days were up, I was back at work. Like it didn't matter how I felt, because I wasn't feeling too good still. But I went back. A week after that, I ended up going to St. Croix for a wedding.
Yes.
Still sick.
Oh boy.
And I went there the Friday, and by the Saturday morning, I was in the hospital in St. Croix.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
Because I couldn't breathe, and I had a very heavy whooping cough kind of sound, and it was hurting my back, and it was just very bad. And thankfully, I was staying with 2 nurses.
Nice.
Y'all know Pastor Vincent David. I was staying with him because me and his daughter are very good friends.
Yes.
His wife and his daughter are nurses, so they both were like, no, you have to. So we went to the hospital, found out I had pneumonia. So it was really bad. So I stayed there for the day, got more medication, ended up going back home, coming back to St. Thomas, and staying home for about a week.
Nice.
Just from that alone, and then talking with like good friends like you, and talking with Brian, Brian specifically, Brian Smith, he had a serious talk with me like, are you resting? And I'm like, yeah, I'm right. And he's like, no, but are you resting? You know, not just staying home. Are you sleeping? Are you mentally like resting? Is your brain on shut off mode? And after this whole debacle, is when I realized, wow, I don't rest at all. Like I sleep, but I don't rest. I sleep the allotted 7 hours, I'm supposed to, and then I'm up and I'm going until it's time to go back to sleep again. But then I realized that I just wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't resting. I wasn't taking time to just let my brain shut off, or I wasn't eating right because I'm on the go most of the time. So very quick, easy little things, I'm picking at. And I recently went vegetarian, as you know.
Yes.
But that still didn't help me in the sense of like, okay, I'm not eating like burgers, but I'm eating fries.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still doing that like quick stuff. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't drinking enough fluids. I wasn't resting, and all of that could have been avoided in the beginning if I had just rested as I was supposed to. So that was a huge eye opener.
Yeah. So what after that happens? Like, what do you think? Or what do you start doing to actually implement that? Do you take a day off? Do you go to the spa? Do you get a massage?
I wish I could go to the spa as much as I could. But no, I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna set a plan for myself. For example, my Sundays, I'm only going to do things I want to do, not things I have to do.
Got it.
So on Sunday, I'm gonna lay around and roll around in my bed and wallow in the house and just relax, and anything I want to do, I'll do
it. Yeah.
But if I have to do it,
no.
I'll save it for like a weekday or something.
Exactly.
I also actually started this last week at work, where I started taking mini breaks at work. Because I never felt like breaks worked, because I felt like 10 minutes you can't really, But this past week I started doing it to where, every 2 hours or so, I'd take like a 10-minute break. And it's not like get up and go or anything. Sometimes I just like push away from my desk and turn, because I have a window behind of me, and turn towards the window and just stay there for 10 minutes, just relaxing with my eyes closed. And that's really been helping me mentally kind of just calm my thoughts and ideas, because I feel like because I'm doing so much, I'm always thinking about things to do.
Yeah.
So
always thinking about the next step.
Yeah.
The next process.
Exactly. So that has really helped me. And I'm just eating better. Just getting up in the morning, and instead of being like, okay, I have to go, so just pick up trashy breakfast, like actually take my time and make a good breakfast and drink tea and really like start my day off right.
That's so super important, and your story is really it really speaks to me, because I kind of felt like I've been in the same position, not exactly the same, but similar. A lot, especially from the beginning of this year until now, I've been in a lot of different things, and the way that I do it is a bit different from the way you do it. I think you're way more efficient and effective than me, because I am more of, I call it like I work soft and I play soft. Okay. So I'll have a lot of stuff doing, but I do them, in like the college way of just wait until okay, that's done. Yeah. You're gonna take that. You're gonna have a good day.
Right.
But honestly, self-care and positioning yourself to do the best with the time you have, as well as positioning yourself to be the best, especially with the body we have and the mind we have, is so crucial. If we don't do that, then we're gonna see burnout. We're gonna experience it, and it's gonna help. It's not like school days when you wanna have
definitely.
pneumonia.
And I think it's important too that we understand that like at our age you can be burnt out, because I feel people feel that if you're not over a certain age, you don't have enough you're not doing enough to be burnt out. But burnout is real with our age group.
Exactly, and especially with the technology we have and the time that we have, the way that things are structured, it's easier to work more.
Definitely.
Because your computer is here.
Right.
Right? Back in the day, you had to go to the
office. Go to and sit at your desk.
You had to drive.
Right.
You couldn't be on a call. Like, I remember I used to work in St. John, and I would be on calls on the boat coming back. So, you can work basically wherever you are, whenever you're, connected, and that's a blessing and a curse. So it's something that we have to look into as people. Definitely. But that's something I'm gonna do. So you eating better, you're taking your Sundays slowly, you're playing soccer on Sundays.
Yes.
And what was the other thing you're doing?
Breaks.
Yeah, breaks.
Yeah.
Breaks. That's good.
Yeah.
Now that the eating healthy brings me into something that we tried.
Oh, mercy.
And we've been trying to talk about this for a while. We haven't recapped it.
Right.
But we did try something, and I kind of I kind of feel bad about it. Reason being because we didn't go all the way. I think we could have gone harder.
We could have.
Honestly. So what we're discussing is a juice fast, a juicing fast.
Yes.
And this is something that I was educated on from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
She has this book, and we've had it for probably as long as I've been alive. It's called Make the Juicer Your Drugstore.
Right.
And so recently, we went back into this book because like sometimes my eyes, act up and might not be the healthiest person all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a way for you to kind of flush out the impurities and toxins in the body, as well as to just get more energy and reset your body when you're starting to eat right and exercise and live a healthier life. So I did it once by myself. It was just by myself, and I went probably 3-4 days, and I felt really good. I felt like I could have gone longer, but my mom was like, just eat the orange.
Right.
When are you gonna start eating again? I'm like, don't tell me to do that, because I'm gonna do it. But the next time I did it, I said, Chantelle's into these types of things. Let me see if I can bring her in on this. Ooh. So tell me your experience. How did that happen? How did it go?
So for the general public, Ronnie brought it to me, and I remember I was like, oh cool, we could do this, because at the time I was on a high. You remember I was on this high, like I want to start being the healthiest person I could be, and I want to switch over to being a vegetarian.
Yes.
I want to I was just on, like, I was trying to do cold turkey. So he brought it, and I was like, cool. We started, and it was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do. One of the...
And mind you, this was like a day... It's like 2 days. It was like 2-3 days.
It was like 3 days.
Yeah, it was 3 days. Okay, that's good. That's a good time.
It was like a 3-day fast, and I swear it was like, it was. Oh my god.
It's tough, and here's why, right? So I'll explain the fast, just in case you want to pick it up, and if you do want to pick it up, just leave a comment or reach out to me. The fast is, you're gonna start with 2 vegetables, maybe a fruit in there. It's carrots and celery. So the first day, you wake up in the morning, you're going to drink some water, mix it with some Epsom salt, right? You drink that down.
The purge.
Yeah, the first day is the purge. It's actually called day 0. So it's not the first day.
Yeah,
this is 0 days, day 0.
The purge.
So you start off with that, right? And then after that, the next 20 minutes, you're going to drink your celery and carrot juice. And then you're going to drink that every 30 minutes for the rest of the day. Now, what's going to happen during the day is that you're going to feel, your body cleansing, and you're going to have bowel movements that are going to be unique. They're going to be different from what you expect, from what you normally have, You're going to be a little worried, but don't be worried. So after that, the next day, then you're gonna just drink 3 times a day, like drink it for your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and continue from there. If in the afternoon you're feeling a little faint, you can have an orange or some type of citrus fruit. I wouldn't recommend a lemon, but after those days, you just continue and continue until you're ready to get off. The official fast is usually recommended for a week, but we did 3 days. The first time I did, I think 4 days. Yeah. But it really cleanses you out. And I remember you were hitting me up like,
the fast was harder on my part. It was my first one ever, and it's the first time I was learning about it and whatnot. And it was harder on my body simply because at the time of the way I was eating. I was eating horribly. At the time I was still eating meat and a lot of cheese and stuff like that. So
so it's gonna hit you.
Yeah, day 0, which was supposed to just be the purge. The purge ended up being like my first 2 2 full days, and the last day was the only day that I felt
that
like
you felt clean
truly
and
cleansed. Because for 2 days I was just going through it because I felt like my body was like, this is just a lot of toxins we have to get away, so we have to really do it.
And that's one thing that what happens when you're doing a healthy cleanse. It's gonna get worse before it gets better, and that's hard to deal with because you expect it to say, okay, I'm starting healthy now, it's just gonna get better and better and better.
Yeah.
But it gets worse,
Yes.
and that's something you have to mentally prepare for.
Yeah.
So, because the first time I did it, and when I did it with you, I totally forgot that was a part of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? I thought I was like, oh yeah, I could do stuff today.
Yeah,
But you cannot do things on the first day.
Right.
You can't do it. So that was healthy and it was a good experience.
Yeah.
You think you'd do that again?
I do. I think I would do it again because even though it was a rough first 2 days, my last day I felt like so energized. I felt like I could breathe better. I felt like I was smelling scents that I never smelled before. Everything was just heightened. And I feel like I would do it again simply because now I'm eating better. I did drop meat. I'm not eating as much cheese. So I feel like it would not be so hard on my body like the first time.
Nice. Yeah, and that's one thing I was telling her because a bad habit of mine is I don't really eat breakfast.
I do. I think I would do it again because even though it was a rough first 2 days, my last day I felt like so energized. I felt like I could breathe better. I felt like I was smelling scents that I never smelled before. Everything was just heightened, and I feel like I would do it again simply because now I'm eating better. I did drop meat. I'm not eating as much cheese, so I feel like it would not be so hard on my body like the first time.
Nice. Yeah, and that's one thing I was telling her because a bad habit of mine is I don't really eat breakfast. So when I started it, and she was like, "Oh man, I'm hungry for breakfast." I was like, "Oh yeah, what is that? What was that again? Breakfast? Oh yeah, supposed to break the fast.
Right?
So I forgot. But yeah, so that's that's something that we talk about a lot. Health issues as well as work and rest and stuff like that. One thing that I'm interested to talk to you about is something that you're experiencing, and I haven't really talked to someone who's been going through this, firsthand that I'm so close to.
Okay.
As you said before, you are engaged.
I am.
You see the big rocks, just rocks, ice like your fingers,
right?
Frostbitten. Yeah, but yeah. So how is that experience? Like specifically, because we hear like there's so many ways it can go down. People are engaged for like years, and then some people are engaged and then they're married in like 2 seconds. And like what is that experience like for people who might get there one day?
I think for it all depends on the type of relationship you're in, I guess. Because I have seen people who like they get engaged and then months later, we're husband and wife. And I honestly, for me, I'm not judging anybody, but I don't know how it's possible. But then I also don't agree with being engaged for 2, 3, 4 years. For us, me and my fiance, we've been together.
And I was trying to get him on the podcast, but he says he has too many controversial views. I mean, the worst thing that's gonna happen is that it blows up and he's famous and he gets money from it.
I don't know.
Whatever.
We've been together for a long time. We've been together for 8 years before we got engaged. And we decided that we'd be engaged for a certain amount of time. Not long. It's not short. It's not months, but it's not 2, 3 years either. We're getting married next year, and that kind of just works for us because we've been together so long. We've grown in that aspect. However, we still wanted to give ourselves time to learn each other even more as an engaged couple, because I feel like every step dynamics change. Before it was when we were just like childhood little sweethearts, like that's just my little boyfriend. But then when we became adults, it changed, and when we got engaged, it even changed because now we're moving into, we have to start thinking about how we're building our life. So life we have to talk about we were doing it before, but now we deeply talk about finances and our home and planning a wedding, and things change. So I feel like the engagement period is such an important period for couples
Yes.
that they should take seriously.
That's super true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I you know, like that's not something I'm even remotely close to. But you know, seeing that happen, and I know people who've been married
Right.
and have gotten married.
Right.
What is that and this is so important. And me and your fiance, we're talking about it like in a general sense, but like finances and how you're managing that and how you're like growing your portfolio for the future and things like that. You guys are like in initial talks about that. How is that going? Do you see a way forward? Are there any tips that you can impute or impart?
I mean, definitely. We have been talking about it heavily now, especially because now we're in marriage counseling. By the way, if you're engaged or you're getting engaged, marriage counseling is very important.
Yeah, who's your counselor?
Pass across.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yes, do
That's
not
wonderful.
knock marriage counseling. It's not that you have issues. It's not alluding to the fact that y'all won't work out and you need someone to be a mediator. It's to help you truly make the decisions you need to make with a person who is literally on a blank board. They have no they're on nobody's side. They're just trying to help you to see the best way possible.
Yeah.
But finances, it's so important to think about finances when you're going into a marriage, because coming out of being, even though you could be in a relationship, you're still an independent individual.
Yeah.
So my money is my money, your money is your money, kind of situation.
Yeah.
You cannot go into a marriage with that mindset because you're building one home, you're becoming one being. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against people who have rainy day funds. For example, like we have our account, but then there's an account for just in case that we don't touch, or one of us manages or something like that. But you have to go in with the mindset that what we make is to help our household, is to help our family, it's our money. So it's not like, oh, because he makes more money or I make more money, it's my money.
Yeah.
No, because at the end of the day, it's all there to help the household as one.
That's super true. And like for me, I have a bunch of different accounts. Like I have probably like an account. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have probably 7 money accounts. Just like between investing, savings, checking,
Right.
and other things that I'm trying to do. So, like, and that's another question that I have in my mind sometimes. Like, I am not against having separate accounts in general. Now, I understand, like, for example, right, on an account spreadsheet, like, so let's say you have your Banco Popular app or whatever banking app you use. You could see all of the different accounts. And my wife would have one, I would have one. We could see, and then she does what she does. I do what I do, but it's still there. I think communication is the super important thing.
Yes, definitely.
Because she would be able to see the purchases I make. I see the purchases she makes. Not that I'm looking, but we kind of have a gauge of what you have, what I have, and how it's going to go down.
I actually heard this thing that I found very useful. I actually heard it at it was almost like a tea party.
Yeah.
So my cousin got married last year, and we had a whole moment for them where we brought in people, wives, people who have been a part of their lives, and the women sat with her and the men sat with him, and we all really spoke about things. And one thing I heard that was very useful was that, okay, if separate accounts is fine, but make a rule. For example, if it costs more than $100, it requires a conversation. So, even if it's, out of my account, if it costs $100, okay, or more, let's sit and have a talk about it. Or if you feel like, even if it's $25, but if you feel like it's uncomfortable, like, should I talk to him about it? You should.
Okay.
Have a conversation about it. Even if it's your account or, his account. If you feel uncomfortable or you feel like this might cause something, have a conversation about it.
Yeah, because it's so important to be, unified when it comes to that, because statistics show that the main majority reason that people get divorced is finances.
Yeah.
And statistics show that 50% of couples get divorced.
Yeah.
That's insane to
Yeah.
me. Like 50, that's half. That's like you and your friend.
Yeah.
You and your couple friend.
Yeah.
Now that's the one thing that's the one thing I'm sad about is that my friends are getting married and now it's more difficult to be friends because your couple friends have to have your couple friends.
Yeah.
Your single friends are your single friends. So now all my single friends are just looking at each other like
what's happening?
like what's going on? Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, but hey, I have a situation that I saw online, right? And I'm gonna read it out for you and see what you think about it.
Okay.
It says Keith and Tamika recently married. Tamika is a neurosurgeon and earns $400,000 a year. Keith is a manager at Finish Line, it's a shoe store, and earns $44,000 a year. After the wedding that she paid for, Keith moves into Tamika's house. She buys him a new Lexus to replace his old Honda Accord, and even pays for a 2-week honeymoon to Jamaica. Keith loves Tamika with all his heart, and vice versa. And they are happy together. But all Tamika's family, friends, say she is stupid. Since Keith is the man, is there a problem with their financial arrangements? If they're in love, does the money difference make them unequally yoked? Ladies, if you are Tamika, or gentlemen, if you are Keith, could you play that role, lady?
Wow. That's an interesting situation. Okay.
You want me to go first or you want to
Go first. Let me
Okay,
check to see.
yeah. Ruminate on that. Honestly, I'm going to go back to the beginning, right? And this is something I think about a lot.
Right.
We're Christians, Seventh-day Adventist Christians, and a lot of people, look at the double standard between men and women. I believe, of course it's Adam's fault, but it's also Eve's fault that there's a double standard between men and women, because when Eve ate the fruit, right? And what happened in the beginning, right, according to the Bible, the devil came to Eve, said, eat this fruit, it's going to make you wise, but God said not to eat the fruit, it's going to make you die. So Eve listened to the devil, who was shaped as a serpent. She ate the fruit, and once God found out, he said, okay, so there's going to be some rule changes since you disobeyed. One of them is that the man is going to be above the woman, right? So that's why, in my opinion, in my theories, men have to be the aggressors. They have to be like the mentally, I guess, not forward thinkers, but they have to be this mental stimulators. Like there's so much that we have to do now that we wouldn't have had to do if that didn't happen.
Right.
And that leads into something like this, where even though, there's the feminist movement and women want equal rights, there will always be something inside, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, there will always be something inside that, is looking towards the man, in a way. So that kind of creates this dichotomy of, even when a man wants to step away, it's not gonna be as advantageous if he was, the aggressor and the that type of guy. I don't want to use alpha, but if he's not that, he's that type of guy, right? So in this case, me personally, I wouldn't mind if we love each other. It feels weird because innately we want the man to be the head, because that's the sinful trait that has shaped our society since the beginning. It's not wrong, and they love each other. They can make it work out. It feels wrong, but it's technically not. That also, there's so much in here. Like, for example, women, more educated than men, especially black women, most educated demographic in America, if not the world, and then black men having trouble, you know, in the employment space and all these things, right? So I know people who would say, no, that can't happen, that can't work, that's weird. I mean, I commented on it. Okay, so someone on Facebook, they said, personally, I think he should go to school and do something with his life. It don't look right. That's kind of harsh to me.
That is very harsh. I feel so many things I picked up from what you just said that I want to comment towards. Coming from the biblical aspect and the spiritual realm, yes, this idea that, you know, it does say that the man will lead the household and the woman is a helpmate. You know, you are a helpmate. You are there as a support. Now, this idea, as you said, the dichotomy between the biblical aspect and the social aspect, because we're in the 21st century. It's 2019, where women are making more money. It's not because before, socially and biblically, it was lining up. Women stayed at home, made all the children. You know, if they worked, it was small jobs, but took care of the house. The man was the one going out, especially with black females going out, black families working hard, bringing home the bacon, and that they all align. But now, when we're in a world where women are going to college more, getting more degrees, black women especially, making more money in that aspect, with this idea that now it's not parallel, how do you handle it? Well, it's interesting the fact that we automatically take this idea that, okay, the man is supposed to lead the household and try to put it together with finances. We always think that that's the only thing when it comes to lead the household, we mean financially. I don't agree with that. I don't feel that because, okay, God is a plain God, and I feel like if he was going to say you have to be the head provider, he would have said so. But he did say, you know, that man will lead, but he didn't say women will be under. You will be a helpmate, you know, as a support system. Financially, all right, y'all may not be on the same, you know, level. Now, this is a gross gap. All right, let me just be very clear. This is a large gap. This is a large gap. So this is a bit rare. But in terms of when women are making more money, that does not mean that he's not leading the household, because you don't know in other aspects how he's leading. She could be making more money, but he is who has financially has the better mind on how to manage that money, or how we're going to pay for certain things, and how we're going to keep our household going. She might just be bringing in the money, you never know. So this idea of just finances being the only thing to say you are the man of the household is something that I feel it's a outdated kind of idea and message that we need to get rid of. Now, I do agree in a sense that if he does not feel comfortable, you know, he could go to school. You should go to school and try to do the best that you can. Don't lay in a situation simply because it's comfortable. Exactly. Simply because she's making all this money, like, okay, you know. No, if you want to, go ahead. But if it works for them, hey, live your best life.
Like I shared this, and my caption was me and somebody down.
Ready.
That was the caption.
Watch your daughters.
No. Honestly, that's something that happens for sure. But
I feel like it adds pressure. I don't know. I'm not a male, so I don't know. And maybe you could answer it from a male's perspective. But I think that whole idea just adds pressure to y'all, in a sense that you have to provide and you have to be the aggressor and you have to pretty much bring in the bacon and still be as sensitive as possible so that the woman doesn't feel emotionally shut down. And it's so much pressure. So I don't know if you want to.
It is a lot. I mean, that's the one thing that I think about a lot as well. Like, so there's definitely pressure, and it's societal pressure, as well as I'm trying to find the word, like it's the not emotional, but the psychological understanding of what works
Right.
for being a man.
Right.
So me being a man, I could live life with no pressure.
Right.
But I wouldn't get any results from, me, not taking on those quote unquote, aspects or those stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, I think, and this is just my opinion, that it's harder for women to find someone than it is for men, because the societal pressure is the man has to, pursue.
Yeah.
Right? And as I've grown, I've realized, like, at first I thought it was hard, but it's actually easier because the women expect that. So, would you agree that it's harder for women?
I think in some aspects, yes, it is. As you said, it's almost innate. I don't want to say it's an innate trait, because we're taught that. From the time you're young, you're taught that. A boy comes and asks you to be his girlfriend. A boy comes and asks you to prom, and everything happens. Everything is initiated by a male. So because of that, many women feel like, I can't initiate. I can't be aggressive. I can't do this. And because of that, many women miss out on a lot of opportunities because we feel like, you know what? It's not my place. I'm supposed to sit back and wait.
Yeah, exactly.
But now let's say there's a guy. He doesn't.
And here's the key point in all this. Guys are not smart. Like, this is the funny thing, right? This is the funny thing I find out. Like, when I'm talking to men, I'm talking to women.
Yeah.
I talk to men, and if they're telling me a story about, like, some situation, the number one thing they're gonna say is like, and I was doing this and this and this and this. I'm not stupid,
right?
I'm not stupid. And then for a woman, it'll be like, and I'm telling him this and this. It's like, I'm not crazy,
right?
I'm not crazy. What is this? But I think it's actually the opposite. I don't think we're that bright as men. And I think women, have to realize that when it comes to men, especially, because a guy, he might like you and all those things, but his mind might just not be like 100% there.
Exactly.
And that's a thing, that's an aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it is still, the man's role to kind of, push that forward and things of that nature. But in this, new age where women are making $400,000, it's an option.
You mean tell me I'm making $400,000 and I can't approach a man?
Yeah, it's an option. It's an option. Yeah, it's an option. It might not be for you,
right?
But it's still an option.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I mean, for men, there's definitely some societal pressure. There's mental pressure. I think men kind of like take it in stride, and we don't sweat it too much. Like, I don't think we sweat a lot of things.
Well, I think for the most part, I know this might be blowing him out the water. I'm sorry, babe. But for a long time, when we speak, and he's now opening up certain things that I didn't know.
Oh.
And he's like, when people, because we're together 8 years, and people feel like, oh, y'all should have been engaged a long time ago. And his thing was, well, I was feeling the pressure all the time, but I don't want to be engaged to you and then I can't provide.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing this, because then if I do that, then everyone's going to come to me and say, oh, you need to be able to provide for her. You're taking her from her parents' home. You should be able to, And he was feeling so much pressure in that aspect, because he's like, I'm feeling pressure to be engaged to you, but then I'm feeling pressure to be able to provide for you and be the man that they want me to be, because in the matter of a year of engagement, they want me to have a mansion on the hilltop and cars in the lot and six-figure job, and that's just not realistic. But that's the pressure that was just behind, in the fact that I still kind of have to do this at some point. Even if I don't sweat it now, at some point somebody's daughter is going to be like, hey, and you're going to have to figure it out before she becomes a part of your life.
It's super true. Like, that pressure is there for, like, most men, and it causes, I think, honestly, like, it causes us to react in different ways. Like, some will fold under the pressure and kind of, like, dissipate from society. Others will kind of try and overcompensate for the pressure. Like, I know people who, like, the type of person I am, right? There's certain things that I will pay for. There's certain things I will never in my entire life pay for. Like, and it's like it's nature and nurture for me. So, for example, my car is probably the worst Chevy Tracker on island. It's probably the worst. It came with no windshield wipers.
Right.
Me and my father had to like build the apparatus
That's
to
the thing, yeah.
move the windshield wiper. Then I was in the States. I was so lucky to like have to pull the arms, not the blades, the arms, because that's hard to find.
Yeah.
And then we had the blades, and now the windshield wipers work.
Yeah.
Just this is a side note, but I was helping someone get a car, and like the tail, like underneath the tailpipe had a little rust on it, and they were looking at it like, what is this? And I was like, what are you looking at? I don't see it. And that's my fault. That's my fault because I am so not into getting a new car or a nice car. And when a bunch of my friends have nice cars, I'm just like,
once it's reliable.
Yeah. Once, not even reliable. Once I can drive it.
Extreme.
I'm an extreme guy, and I have to thank my father for that. But like for example, my friends, they would have a nice car and then they would have a set in it, and they have a loan to pay it off, and I'm like, what? A loan?
Avoided that.
Debt? Yeah, and that's one thing but that's an aside. That's like certain things I'll pay for, other things I'll pay for. But people, to live in this society of men being strong, being providers, will get the nicest things, will get the most expensive things, and then be in situations where it's more difficult to pay back, being in debt causing situations because it's not just them wanting to have nice things, it's other people looking at them, and when they have the things, it's like, oh, you're doing it big,
you're living the life you're supposed to. Yeah,
but that's really not what the life is. Like what I realized, like in my work experience and the things that I'm doing is that people who have money, they dress regular, and they don't have flashy things, and they just go on trips and do other things like that. But that's
I think as a people, and when I say as a people, I mean Black people, and I might be wrong. Some people might want to get me for it, but it's okay. We have this idea of we have to prove our status in some way.
Yeah.
For example, just like you, I know some people who are not Black who are living. I mean, they are making money. Like they are on the upper echelon of the society. Yeah. Yet they're wearing like the worst shoes, and their cars are like those little tops that have rips in them, and like they don't have windows in their cars and stuff. And they feel like it's just because why it's not necessary. Why spend our money on this when on the other end, a lot of Black people have that idea that, and I kind of have to show it. I have to prove, the watch, the this, the that, and put themselves in deeper debt to prove that that on some plane or level, and I feel like that's just totally wrong. And like I tell
my Black friends that I hang out with my white friends because I'm trying to learn from them. Exactly. That's why I do. So I do those crazy whatever crazy stuff they're doing. I'm looking into it because they know things that we don't, and it's so true in finance, in economical stationings and
financially,
and those things. And that's one thing that even from when I started working has been something that I always wondered, why doesn't everyone know everyone's income, right? In the Black community as a helping tool. Because here's the thing, right? When you're going for a job or something, you don't know how much to ask for, especially as an African American. You don't know how much you should be getting, and
that's how much,
and all of these things. Like it's just not shared enough, right? Like I want to be someone who shares. Like for example, I didn't know about credit cards. I knew about credit cards, but I didn't know how they could help me until last year, next month. So May last year, that's when I got my first credit card, and it was basically an accident. My friend was telling me to get a bank account. But I said, I need, let me just get this credit card because the bank account was just taking so long. So I got the credit card, and at this point in my life, I don't know if I've told you this, but when I went, traveling, I got another card for it, and I was able to like at a trip because I got so much free tokens. I was where was I? I was in Virginia. So I got a flight from Virginia to Houston and back to St. Thomas for $5.
What?
You see? And these are the things that are hidden from us as a society.
Right.
So I think that's something that's so important that we have to, focus on and look at.
I agree. A lot of knowledge is not being passed down. For example, as you said with credit cards and stuff, many people don't even know about credit until, it's too late. And then they're like, wait, I need credit to be able to get a loan. I need credit to be able to get a good house, a home. And things like that, credit cards and credit, and as you said, salaries. I'm a good example. When I got my first job, I have a degree in hand. And I went, and they're like, okay, like, what's your minimum? And I'm sitting there like, and I just kind of threw out a number.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it was a very low number. I'm thinking it's a high. I'm thinking, that's all. But and if you do that, they're gonna some companies take advantage of you. Like,
of course.
I could pay you trash money for a lot of work.
Exactly.
And people need to understand that once you have certain things in hand, degrees or certifications, you're worth a certain amount of money, and you should know how much you're worth, and you should know how much you should be asking for. And if we were to do that, as you said, be able to pass on the knowledge of salaries, and when you have a bachelor's in this, you shouldn't work for less than and you should make sure that you're being taken care of benefits wise and whatnot. All that stuff we need to pass on continually.
Like, and the last thing I want to say, like you gave your example. My example is when I started working, right? I was working in a job where everyone knew everyone's salary, because it was basically it was kind of like sales. It was marketing / sales. So we would be getting I guess to be as specific as possible, because I can't find a general way to say it. We would be getting people to go to presentations. So each person that we got would be like a certain amount that we got in our paycheck. Right. So it was commission based. Yeah. Plus, it was commission plus time, so it was a mix. And you would know, I would know, you would know. And then when I left, right, I went to this job and in St. Croix, I mean, not in St. Croix, in St. John, right, that's another island. And it's 15-minute boat ride. So I lived here, I went to St. John, and I was getting $30,000, right? Right. That was around the same amount that I was getting when I worked in the hotel with the commission-based job. And so I was like, okay, cool, now I don't have to do commissions, I'm getting $30,000, that's cool, nice. Now, as time progresses, right, I get a raise, right? I get a $3,000 raise. I'm pretty happy, I'm stoked. Right. Another guy comes, into the company, and now he's over us. He has some experience, but not in our specific company. And I'm not supposed to see, but I happen per chance to see how much he's getting. He's getting $40,000. And I'm like, I know more than him. Right. Like, what is this? Right. So, like, things like that is only by chance that I saw that. And if your community, your group of friends and family can tell you, hey, look, at this point in your career, you could be getting 40. That's something that you should know. Yeah. Right? It's not the end of the world if you have to wait a little bit before. And even if you wait, we live in a society where you could get the job and then keep looking for other jobs until when you find whatever you're looking for. And also, this is the last thing I'm going to say, is when you're going into an interview, this is something that I had to learn, is they are interviewing for you. Exactly. Oh, if I could point this home any harder, I would. Companies, especially in this great economic market, are dying for employees. They're dying for good employees. The recruiter, right, is under a deadline, he's sweating. The recruiter who's recruiting you is sweating profusely because they have to get someone in the position because everyone in the company is like, we need somebody for this now.
Right.
So when you go to them, you have all the cards. All the cards. Because you have to realize what a company is. A company doesn't work without the people inside the company making it work.
Yeah.
So you have the cards to, say what you want and definitely be willing and ready to walk away. Like, last interview I did, I was there and I was like, I'm really okay with where I am right now. I'm not really looking for anything. I just put my thing in there. I'm actually leaving, so I'm gonna be away for a few months. So when I come back, then we might be able to discuss. And they're like, no, come, please come. So so those are the type of things that as a community we have to realize is open to us.
Yeah.
Now we could talk all day,
literally,
about so many stuff like gentrification. Is my number one thing, but we're not gonna do it.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
But I'm so glad to have Shantelle, Eddy on the show. Will Podcast for Friends. Is there anything that's new happening with you?
The last thing right now is that, and it's a good thing we ended on jobs because I'm actually moving jobs. I actually got a new job, a better paying job, much better paying job, and that's actually gonna take care of me. So I'm very excited for that. So that's gonna happen in about a week and a half. So.
Sweet, awesome. You want them to follow you? Or you want them to leave you alone?
Oh no, y'all love me. Please.
So follow her on what's your Instagram?
Oh, my Instagram is @show_an_tell TELE Shantelle.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
And follow me. It's Red Eye Ronnie on Instagram. It's Ronnie GTV on Twitter. And that's the show. You guys have a great rest of your time.
See ya.
Okay, that's it.
That was good. That's cool. We should do more.
I like it. You're gonna come back on the show.
Definitely. What do you think, Kai didn't watch it today.
Yeah, remember when we were in the same crowd?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Around in circles, baby.
They don't understand.
Over and over again. Oh, how many times can I justify it?
See, that's why I said.
That's something we had. You had enough. Now I'm filling up. And down, gotta figure out why you're right. Why do I do?
Yeah, it's
Take care of your content.